What's up, guys? Hopefully you guys can hear me. Does that sound good? Uh, think about it. Uh, Hold on, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, it should be better now. A bit louder. I don't know if I can make the microphone any louder. Uh, yeah, microphone's about as loud as it's gonna get, I think. Unless, no, it's turned up all the way over here. Drink more water. Oh man. Okay. So you shouldn't hear through one headphone if you hear a headphone. If you have headphones on, you shouldn't hear through just one headphone ear. You should be able to hear through both. That was one of the mistakes I made in the last one. I set it to stereo instead of mono, so it should be better. So, um, man. Yeah, the movie was really good. Yeah, the chat's blowing up. Chat always blows up whenever I do live streams. It's kind of crazy. Uh, the audio is still kind of low. Let's see. Yeah, the mic audio is set to 100%. So I can't make the microphone audio any louder. At least not to my knowledge. Hold on. Uh, Properties, levels. Oh, hold on. I might be able to. All right, let me know if that sounds any better. Is that any louder for you guys? Hopefully it's not crazy loud, but the audio is fine. Okay. Uh, okay, audio is fine for most people. All right. Um, all right. Yeah, this is the Marvel villains shirt. It's kind of cool. It's just all the different villains from Marvel Comics. I got out of a loot crate like 2 years ago, and before I got rid of loot crate, or no, maybe it was the Marvel box. I think I got rid of the Marvel subscription service. But um, okay, so first things first. For about the first I don't know, minute or so, it'll be spoiler free. Just because it's the end credits explained, so you can't do that without it being spoilery. So if you don't want spoilers, the spoiler free version is that the movie's amazing. It's good. One of the big concerns people had is that there would be a lot of comedy in it. And to be honest, I don't really see a problem with a lot of comedy. I mean, it's not an insane amount of comedy. It's not like it's a slapstick film. It feels a lot like Guardians of the Galaxy, just in terms of the comedic feel. But it's really really good. Like it's really really enjoyable. Um, Having said that, I mean there are a few things that I would have changed here and there. Myself and Benny over at Comic Historian are uploading our opinions, our thoughts on Thor Ragnarok, which is coming out today. But no, I mean it's cool. I mean it's interesting for what it is. You know, I definitely enjoyed it. I mean it's clearly a movie worth going to see. It's worth every bit of the 90 some odd percent of a rating that it got on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, there's a lot of comedy, but here's the thing though. Like you got to also keep in mind, like you can't just look at Thor Ragnarok in and of itself. You have to look at the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe because this is probably the last little bit of comedy we'll get before things get exceedingly dark. Things, assuming Infinity War goes the way that I think it will, things will get really, really dark. Which brings us into the end credit scene for Thor. So this is when we start getting into the spoilers. Um, well, you know, relatively spoiler free. This is when we start getting into the whole idea of the spoilers. We're not going to ruin too much, but um, when it comes to the end credit scene, I personally think um, that Loki's going to die in Infinity War. I think he's going to die. Um, it's really cool because this is when this is the spoiler aspect. So from this point going on, we're getting to spoilers. But we can't dance around the non spoiler thing. So I'll give you guys what, like maybe 3 or 4 seconds. One, two, three, four. Okay. Spoilers. All right. So the funny thing about Thor Ragnarok is it is a blend between the events of Planet Hulk and Thor Ragnarok. It's basically this idea that it is the attempt of Thor to keep Hela, who's basically his sister, from conquering Asgard. The funny thing is that in order for it to happen, they have to let Ragnarok take place. And so, because of this, it is interesting in terms of how it unfolds. Because at the end, they end up having to take the crown of Surtur and throw it into the Eternal Flame, and then Surtur obliterates Asgard in its entirety. But on the way there, Loki grabs the helmet of Surtur. He's the one that throws it into the Eternal Fire. But he stops and he looks at the Tesseract, at the cosmic cube that's in Asgard. And that's the cool thing about it because it sets the stage for the idea that Loki is going to have the whole Rob Core, or Rob Core. It's like Corps. People just spell it Core for some reason, but it's Corps, like Marine Corps, something like that. So anyway, Loki grabs the helmet of Surtur and throws it into the Eternal Flame. That brings Surtur back to full form. Surtur, lays waste to all of Asgard. Loki grabs a cosmic cube. And it was cool because it basically means that going into Infinity War, Loki will have the cosmic cube. Now, here's the idea: there's two credit scenes. There's the mid credit scene and the end credit scene. The mid credit scene is what we care about. That's the only one that matters. The end credit scene is, well, it's whatever. It's kind of interesting. It deals with the Grandmaster. It's not explicitly intriguing, but what this does is it basically says that they're going to essentially rebuild Asgard on Earth. The whole idea is it'll probably be in Norway. There was just so much reference, like so much harping on the aspect of Norway, and in the comic, that's where things get really kind of interesting. Is because of the fact that when it comes to the comics, there are huge differences between the events of Ragnarok and and as is this in the movie and the comics itself. It's still intriguing. It's still really interesting, but for me, it's just one of those weird scenarios because you basically run into this situation where in the comics they rebuilt Asgard in Broxton, Oklahoma. But in comics, Loki was the one who initiated Asgard. He's the one that did like marched all the enemies of Asgard onto Asgard itself, conquered it, killed everybody, and then Thor was one of like the last few heroes left, and that was really about it. So the comics are vastly different from the film. I mean, it's this the film really doesn't pull on the comics version of Ragnarok, nor does it pull on the Norse mythological version of Ragnarok. It's really kind of its own hybrid in a lot of different ways. It's cool, but it's kind of like its own hybrid in a lot of different ways. That being said, I think that what we're going to end up having is Asgard rebuilt in Norway on Earth, and then Thanos showing up on Earth during the events of Infinity War. And I think what that's going to be is basically my dog's not high. Max is not. He's not high. Max is fine. Um, I think that what Infinity War is going to be is Max. Are you okay? Max. Max, come here, buddy. Yeah. See, Max is wagging his tail. He's fine. Um, what it's going to be is basically Siege on Asgard. Siege on Asgard was a really really cool story, and that's why all this stuff matters. That's why all this stuff is really kind of relevant. The Siege on Asgard matters because it's basically an attempt by the villain Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, who became the new director of Shield, to conquer Asgard is really it. But with regards to the film, I think that Infinity War is going to have Thanos and all of his forces marching on Asgard itself, and that's the cool thing is because unlike the comics where everybody died, like basically everybody actually, every single Asgardian everywhere was dead at the end of Ragnarok. In the film, it's a whole bunch of Asgardians are saved alongside Thor and Loki. And so they're like, well, we'll just take our people to Earth and everything will be fine. Um, in the middle of this, when they were like, hey man, nothing bad's gonna happen, everything's gonna be okay, tying into the whole comedic element, the ship of Thanos shows up. And it's cool because it's basically Thanos and the Black Order. Now here's a funny thing about this, and here's what's so cool about all this. Truth to tell, Thanos and the Black Order will probably decimate Thor and Loki. I mean, I have a hard time believing they wouldn't. Like, I have a hard time believing they wouldn't be able to obliterate, Thor and Loki. I mean, it's the Black Order. I mean, you're talking about like Proxima Midnight, Corvus Glaive, the Ebony Maw. Um, damn, who was the last one? Supergiant. I mean, you're talking about some pretty powerful guys in terms of what they can do, and so it's cool because I think that that's going to be the first stage in basically this statement of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. All hope is lost for the superheroes. I mean, if you have Thor and Loki who have just survived Ragnarok, and like Thanos and the Black Order show up, and they're like, "Oh no, my friends, your troubles are just beginning." Like, I think it's, I think it's gonna be cool. I think it's gonna be interesting. I think Ragnarok. I think Asgard will be built. I think that Ragnarok, or I'm sorry, that Asgard may actually be built on Earth. I have no idea. Most likely, it'll be Thor and Loki just like rushing back to Earth and just being like, "Hey guys," or it'll probably be that they get totally like crushed and obliterated. I haven't seen the trailer for Infinity War yet, so I don't really know what they give away. My guess is that my guess is that Thanos and his guys are going to show up on the ship of Loki and Thor and kill all the Asgardians that are left. I think that'll fulfill the other half of Ragnarok. Because remember, in Ragnarok in Norse mythology, it's basically the end of the Asgardians. It's the death of all the Asgardians. Everything's gone. That's it. There's nothing left. And in the comics, it was much the same way. I think that Thanos and his Black Order are going to eradicate all that's left of the let's see, Lando, Landa, Sebro, I think is how you pronounce that. You deserve this. You are an awesome dude, and keep being. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. I mean, super chats are always welcome, guys. So it's always appreciated. But I definitely appreciate that. Um, no, I think that they're going to show up. They're going to kill all the Asgardians. They're going to either take Loki captive or Loki's going to escape. And then I think Thor is probably going to try to fight them, and either Thor will die or Thor will be like defeated. My hope, my hope is that like Thor gets wrecked and just sent flying out into space and like finds the Guardians of the Galaxy. That would be like a great way to tie in because you got Thor and those guys just floating in space. Nobody else is in space right now except for Thor, Loki, the Asgardians, and the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think I said Guardians of the Universe, Guardians of the Galaxy. But I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be kind of cool, regardless. Hopefully, Thor can be the one that bridges that gap. But the whole idea to me is that with Asgard presumably being rebuilt on Earth somewhere along the line, it basically offers an extension of what happens in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It allows Asgard and all those things to continue on. But that's the big question is like, where do things go from here? Like, what's the next step in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Again, if we have Thanos and the Black Order show up, they kill all the Asgardians, Loki escapes, it's basically all hell breaks loose, and it's total pandemonium. That's a really dark statement in the MCU because, again, like I think that the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to get really, really dark from this point going forward. A lot of dying, I think, is going to happen. But I don't know. I mean, at this point, it's really anybody's game. It's just kind of speculation. It's just kind of throwing it out there and trying to figure it out, and that's really about it. I mean, there's not a whole lot to go on in terms of what we have. Um, oh, also, okay. So here's the deal. Benny over at Comic Story and told me yesterday that apparently because of the fact that Universal owns the rights to the Incredible Hulk, that Marvel cannot actually make Incredible Hulk standalone films, or at the very least, the rights are in such a state of flux that Marvel either doesn't want to or cannot make a standalone film. Regardless of what the scenario is, the Incredible Hulk is going to have a story that's going to be told in the form of a trilogy over the course of the next few films. I believe, I believe that Infinity War is going to be World War Hulk. That it's going to be the World War Hulk story. All right, and here's why. So in the comics, the Incredible Hulk was sent to Planet Hulk, sent to Sakaar because the Earth superheroes deemed him too dangerous of a threat for the Earth. He was too uncontrollable. So they sent him away from Earth. He crash landed on Sakaar when he wasn't supposed to, became a gladiator, toppled the existing king, found a wife. His wife and everybody died in the explosion when his ship was basically, when the nuclear drive of his ship was, detonated. And he came back to Earth just totally pissed. I mean, he was so pissed off. All right, so we know, like from at least from what I've seen in the castings anyway, from the cast listings, Liv Tyler is going to be in Infinity War. Liv Tyler is Betty Ross. Liv Tyler, I think, is going to die in the assault on Thanos. And I think that Infinity War, I think here's exactly how Infinity War is going to play out. I think Infinity War is going to be Thanos showing up on Earth in an attempt to capture the Infinity Stones. Just capture the Tesseract that Loki might have, or whatever the case may be, or capture like the Mind Stone from Vision. No, I haven't seen. I know the trailer's out there, but I've been waiting for the official drop of the trailer in order to see it. I think that Thanos is going to show up on Earth looking for because we know the Mind Stone's there, we know the Time Stone's there, so like we know Thanos has reason to show up on Earth. I think Thanos is going to show up on Earth. I think Thanos is going to capture the Mind Stone, so Vision's going to be gone. I think he's going to capture the Time Stone from Doctor Strange, and I think in the attack, Liv Tyler's going to die. Betty Ross is going to be killed, and I think that when Betty Ross dies, Hulk is going to lose it, and he's just going to become like a universal, like a planet-wide threat. And so World War Hulk will basically be like Thanos showing up and be like, "I got my gems," and then Hulk just loses his mind when Liv Tyler dies, so he's just like, "I'm out," and they just bail. They just take off. Most likely, she'll die at the hands of like the Black Order or something along those lines. Yeah, but like Betty Ross means more to the Incredible Hulk. I would have to believe anyway, just from what we've seen in the movies. Betty Ross means more to the Incredible Hulk than like Black Widow does. Like Black Widow's a chick where she's like, "Hey, big fella, the sun's getting low." Like Black Widow sucks. No, she doesn't. She doesn't suck. But I think Betty Ross means a lot more to the Hulk than Black Widow does. And so I think Betty Ross dying, presumably at the hands of the Black Order, will probably lead to the Black Order being totally obliterated by Hulk. Like World War Hulk will just go on a rampage, kill everybody in the Black Order, and then just keep on getting angrier and angrier, and then just become a threat to the Earth. And I think that in that moment, Thanos will just be like, "I got my gems," and he just takes off. He just bails out, grabs the Infinity Stones, leaves, and then the rest of the movie is the Incredible Hulk losing his mind on Earth and basically obliterating the entirety of the Earth. From there, I think it'll lead into the second Avengers film, which is basically going to be the story of Infinity Gauntlet, and that's when things are really going to pop off. That's my speculation. That's my idea. But keep in mind, guys, like Thanos versus Hulk is a weird discussion. It's a weird topic because Marvel has done it in a couple different ways. For example, in the original Infinity Gauntlet story, Thanos just totally overpowered the Hulk, but he also had the Power Stone. But then if you go and you read Thanos versus Hulk, like Thanos makes it. I'm sorry, not Thanos versus Hulk. No, I think it's Thanos. I think it's Thanos versus Hulk. Thanos makes a statement that he routinely tries to avoid the Incredible Hulk because of how powerful he is. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird. I mean, in my personal opinion, Thanos would probably wreck the Incredible Hulk to a point. I don't think Thanos would be able to kill him, but I think Thanos would be able to wreck the Incredible Hulk until the Hulk got powerful enough, and then just like loses his mind on him, and then that would be the end of Thanos. But I don't know. I mean, let's see. Okay, so let's answer questions that you guys have. Because we've kind of been ranting for about 15 minutes. So let's talk about the questions that you guys have. So let's see. So who has the Soul Stone from Thor 3? Well, we've got 1,100. We've got about as many people as we're going to get in here. About 1,100 people. Right now, the person with the soul. Well, I don't think anybody has a Soul Stone. Never mind. I was thinking of the Space Stone. I was thinking of yeah. I was thinking of the Space Stone. Who has a Soul Stone? I think Black Panther has a Soul Stone, and I think the Soul Stone is the manner by which Black Panther and all the Black Panthers have used to communicate with the former Black Panthers. All right. So here's the deal. In Marvel Comics, Black Panther was largely just Black Panther. He was just a guy that spoke with the Panther God Bast, and that was it. It wasn't until Jonathan Hickman came along, I think, and he wrote Avengers and New Avengers that he introduced the Necropolis. And the Necropolis is where Black Panther can commune with everyone who's ever been a Black Panther, basically the souls of his ancestors. I think that what Marvel's going to do, and I think in Marvel Cinematic Universe, what they're going to do is they're going to take the Soul Stone and they're going to take the concept of Soul World, which is basically this dimension, this world that exists inside the Soul Infinity Stone. I think they're going to roll that into Black Panther, and I think they're going to say the Panther God Bast resides within the Soul Stone, and that all the individuals who have ever been Black Panther reside within Soul World. And I think that that's going to, like, the Soul Stone is going to be how it is that Black Panther, T'Challa communicates with those guys. That's my thought, but I think it belongs to Black Panther. So, uh, hey, big guy, the sun's getting real low. I'll be honest. I know it wasn't meant to be funny, but during the events of Age of Ultron, when that happened, like I just started laughing. I was in the theater and I just started laughing. I was like, Black Widow is one of the one of the greatest assassins in the entirety of the Marvel Universe. Like, she is a world-class assassin. She could kill virtually anybody she wants to, and that's what you do with her character? She calms Banner down? What a waste. It was silly and it was ridiculous. Um, but no, yeah, I think Black Panther is where we'll see the Soul Stone. So, let's see. Will everyone dying be a cliffhanger for part one of Infinity War? I think that a cliffhanger for Infinity War will be Thanos finally gathering all the Infinity Stones. and I think he's going. I think he's legit going to try to impress Mistress Death. I think that Mistress Death is there. Like I don't. I do not believe Hela is Mistress Death. I believe that like Mistress Death is an actual being, and I think this will be the first time we see. Remember, like no character ever has a debut until they're there. Like Mistress Death was never teased. It was never like in Marvel Comics you had Mistress Death who they were just kind of teasing her, and that kind of thing. She was just there one day. It was Iron Man. Iron Man number 75, I think it was. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was when Thanos first appeared in Marvel Comics, and it was basically him. No, I'm sorry, it was when Thanos himself first appeared in Marvel Comics, and he was there accompanied by Mistress Death. I think Mistress Death is there. I think Mistress Death is in the background. I think we just haven't seen her yet. But I think Thanos is very much driving to gain her affections, and so yeah, I think that the cliffhanger for Infinity War will be Thanos snapping his fingers and blinking out half the life in the universe. I think that's going to be the cliffhanger for Infinity War. Yeah, exactly. Nova Sama knows what's up. Nova Sama 420. Know what's up, man. They know what's up. Um, yeah, Hela and Mistress Death are two distinctly different characters. Okay, guys, so here was the deal. So Stanley and Jack Kirby never really believed in the idea of killing characters. That was never really their thing. For the most part, they focused on like lighthearted superhero stories. It was, hey, like let's make comic books an escape as opposed to like a reflection of the real world. Now, writers like Chris Claremont did that, and it was done exceedingly well. He did a really good reflection of the real world in terms of soap operas, dramas, interpersonal relationships between characters, love triangles, different things like that. But Stanley and Jack Kirby just wanted to tell fun stories, and so because of the fact that Thor was introduced, with the Norse mythology being backup features, we got Hela because Hela, or I guess really Hela is her character's name. She is a character from Norse mythology. She's the ruler of basically what amounts to the afterlife um, for those in Asgard and normal people and so on and so forth. But because of the fact that Marvel took the Norse mythological concept of Hela and applied it to comics, what it meant is that those individuals who die honorably in the name of Asgard, meaning they believed in Asgard and they die in battle, they go to Valhalla. Those individuals who just die for whatever reason, they just didn't. They died not believing in Asgard and not in battle, not in the glory of battle. They basically went to the realm of Hela. And that was it. That's all there was. If you or I or anybody lived in the Marvel Universe, back when Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were writing, we would go to the afterlife, to the realm of Hela. The problem with this was that about 9 years after Hela appeared, I want to say in 1974, 1975, around 9 years after Hela appeared, Mistress Death appeared. And that was Marvel's answer to where do people go when they die? Well, they go to the realm of Mistress Death. And it created confusion. The question was, okay, well, do they go to the realm of Hela or do they go to the realm of Mistress Death? Because they were established to be two distinctly different characters. Hela was not an aspect of Mistress Death. It's not like, Mistress Death decided to take a break and just walk around as Hela one day. It doesn't work that way. Like, they're two totally different characters from two totally different realms. And that's the way it works in Marvel. It's been modified, basically, to the point that those who believe in Asgard but did not die in honorable combat go to the realm of Hela. Those who believe in Asgard and did die in honorable combat go to Valhalla. Those individuals who are just regular people go to the realm of Mistress Death. People who were tricked by Mephisto have their souls taken by Mephisto when they die, and they go to his realm. Marvel's basically sort of gone through and organized it to a degree, but they haven't it's not like there's a chart that tells you that, right? There's not like a handbook that tells you how it all works. If you go read like the Marvel Encyclopedia or whatever it is, the Marvel handbook, guidebook, whatever, it'll just say Hela, where she takes the warriors, where she takes those who the souls of the dead, and then Mistress Death, who takes the souls of the dead. It's just there's no real clear, concise explanation there. But nonetheless, it's just one of those weird things. So let's see. Zach Dixon, I think it'll be Doctor Strange using the Time Stone that holds Thanos off while Phase 4 happens. I think he could probably hold him off. I could see that being the case, but it won't last. I think ultimately he'll be taken down. So, let's see. The two characters don't have any. Yeah, exactly. Man of action. That's exactly right. Perfect answer. Um, let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, boy. 990. um, let's see. Cliffhanger for Infinity War. Everybody dies, and Cap assembles the rest of the team. Maybe I have no idea. Or just assembles what's left. I mean, that would be kind of a cool thing. Let's see. Sorcerer Supreme or Sorcerer Extreme. Do you think the cartoons games give away the story, like the future fight scenes with Doctor Strange? No, I don't think so. I don't really think that gives anything away, not at all. So, the Three Joker story has not been fleshed out yet. It's supposed to be, but it's not been fleshed out yet. So, Carlos Arrow, with the Inhumans now having their own series, do you think that they will do an Illuminati formation? Nope. I think the Inhumans have their own series, and I think that series is going to come to an end, and I think we will see neither hide nor hair of the Inhumans again. They will just be gone forever. No one will ever ask what happened to them. No one will ever say, whatever happened to the Inhumans? They'll just never be talked about again. So, let's see. Yaltz Matt, I think. I apologize if I pronounce that wrong. Hey bud, how's the new pad? Two more questions. One, where do you get your awesome music for your vids? Two, Venom Vader versus Deadpool with Thor's hammer. Deadpool with Thor's hammer would clearly no. Venom Vader would probably win because of the fact that he's got the Force and he's Venom. And then I get my music from Epidemic Sound, which is just epidemicsound.com. But yeah, that's where I get my stuff from. My editor just grabs it and throws it all in there. I just tell him to make sure he uses music that complements the videos. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. I mean, at this point, I think people are more for the story as opposed to the music. But yeah, no, the new pad. Okay, so I'm just renting this place for right now, which is why it's so dated. Mine does not look. The house that I'm closing on the 9th, by the way, November 9th, 1 p.m. I close on my house. My house is not nearly this dated. My house was built recently. It wasn't built, 30 years ago. So I definitely wanted more of a blend between a more modern feel and a classic feel. So the house that I'm buying definitely has that feel to it. So let's see. Is Bruce Banner dead? No. Um, who wins, Thor or Hulk? Well, Thor was originally designed to be a counter to the Hulk. People say Thor was designed to kill the Hulk or to defeat the Hulk. I'm not sure that's true. I mean, if there's an interview where Stan Lee says it, well, then it's Stan Lee's the one that made him, so he's the one that can specify under what situations Thor was originally created because they were the ones who made him in the comics. So, I mean, I feel like only a fool would argue with that. Yeah, so a frog Thor? Yeah, we need to make a Throg video. Yeah, we need to make that frog Thor. Like Thor becomes a frog. Throg. It's funny because it is actually a prank that Loki pulls on Thor. And it's funny, it's like this drawn out, like 6-issue story arc. It's kind of crazy. Um, let's see. What's my background? I was a dispatcher before I became a YouTuber. Kind of crazy, huh? World's a wild place. Okay, and here's something that I want to pick your all's brains. All of you who are watching this right now. All right, and leave a comment if you will, please, because I want to know this is something you would want to see. All right, I'm experimenting with the idea of creating like a short film, about 20 minutes long, and it's going to center on comic story, and then I'll make one about myself. But it's basically how we got to where we are, and like for him it'll be like how comic story got to where he is, and like what life is like as a YouTuber, and then the same thing will be for me, like how I got to where I am and what life is like as a YouTuber. Like I want to make that and then branch it out and like hopefully get other YouTubers to do it. But let me know if that's something that you guys would want to see. So, who do you think is a scroll, Rob? As far as I know, they're not going with Secret Invasion for the Carol Danvers Captain Marvel movie. I could be wrong, but as far as I know, that's not going to happen. A Korg video. Honestly, we could do a Korg video, but basically anything you need to know about Korg is covered in my Incredible Hulk series. It's covered in Planet Hulk, World War Hulk, all that kind of stuff. So, um, let's see. An origin story for Throg. Yeah. Do like an origin story for an origin story for myself. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it would be yeah, YouTuber origins. That'd be a cool name. Um it sounds pretty intriguing. Let's see. Do you have a story explaining the entire DC multiverse? Okay, so here's the deal with the whole like history of the DC universe. I initially started it. The problem was that almost immediately after I started doing that, DC Rebirth was kicking off. And right off the bat, there were massive changes that were being made to the DC universe. And it seems like basically DC Rebirth is just coming along and changing up a ton of stuff. When the dust settles, we'll go back and do that. Because what I don't want to do is create a history of the DC universe and then turn around and have to, and people just be totally confused because what they're reading in the comics is starkly different from what's actually like what I'm telling them. So I basically want to wait until the dust settles after DC Rebirth and then go back and finish it. So, let's see. You'll watch my Thor video today. Um, let's see. Express Rob Express Rob. Um, Hela destroying the hammer. Thoughts? Okay, well that comes from the trailer, so that's not a spoiler of any kind. Hela destroying the hammer is actually kind of cool. All right, here's a question that I want to know from you guys. Because obviously Thor throws it at her, which is why it gets destroyed. My question, and actually the events of the movie play out differently from what you saw in the trailer. But what I want to know is how you guys think the hammer, like how why you guys think the hammer was destroyed. I think the hammer was destroyed because Thor threw it, and the hammer will keep going in that direction until Thor recalls it. And Thor never recalled it; he just threw it at Hela, and her it was basically an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, and she was just more powerful than the hammer. And so as a result, the hammer's own momentum led to its own destruction. I'm kind of curious. Let me know how you guys feel about that. That's my thought on how it happened. So, um, let's see. Do you think Batman worth? Do I think Batman White Knight is worth reading? Absolutely. It is an amazing story. It's insanely good. Philip Wharton, $5. Thank you. Off topic, but I was hoping you could do a Tryon Juggernaut or Eighth Day Juggernaut story. Yes, I want to. I definitely want to do the Eighth Day storyline because it is a really cool storyline. Like it is pretty solid. So. My dog looks tired, homie. Yeah, I mean he's just loafing. That's all he ever does is just loaf around. I mean he was like we were up and like he went for a walk and played outside and everything earlier, so he's just kind of tired now. But let's see. Does Thor have the Thor Force now? Yeah, kind of. It's kind of weird, but yeah, he has it. Let's see. Do you think? Oh wow, the Red Samurai. Okay, thank you for $5. Scott Snyder asked on Twitter which characters people would like to see more. Uh, who would like to see Rob? Who would I like to see? Okay. You want John Stewart, Hawkgirl, and Legion? Probably more John. Well, no, we get a lot of John Stewart and Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps. Um, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the way he's pacing it right now is pretty solid. I mean, is he asking in general for DC or just for his line of stories? Because if it's in general for DC, the character I want to see more of is Shazam. That's who I want to see more of. Like, I want to know where he went to. So, what did I think of Surtur? I thought Surtur was cool. I thought Surtur was used just enough so that you know how dangerous he is, but not so much that he loses the effect of being Surtur, the destroyer of gods. I felt like he was used just the right amount, like just perfectly. So, um, let's see. Are you the guy on the boat in Spider? No, I'm not the guy on the boat in Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man. That would be cool, but no, I'm not. I'm not that guy. Um, let's see. Give that dog 10 cc's or belly rubs for being a good boy. Oh yeah, he gets Max gets belly rubs. He gets belly rubs all the time. The funny thing is I'll start giving him belly rubs, and if I take my hand away, he'll reach out and grab my hand and pull it back. It's kind of funny. So, um, let's see. Darkseid is coming after you. Which Marvel hero do you choose to protect you? Galactus. Let's see. Do you think? What do I think happened to Sif in Thor Ragnarok? Sif has not been seen or heard from for quite some time. I have no idea what's going on with Sif. Maybe she's dead. I have no clue. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's yeah, she's been gone for a little while. Um, okay, so overall, I mean, we're gonna wrap this up because, like I said, it's a quick Q&A. So overall, I really enjoyed. Okay, Robert Robinson. How do you think Black Panther will go? I think Black Panther will go awesome. I think it'll definitely be one of the coolest movies of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think it'll be one of the most unique. I think it'll probably be the most unique. Now that I think about it, because people, I think they think of when they hear Black Panther lives in Wakanda, they think of like tribes with straw huts and things like that. Not to say I mean, they're not racist or anything. It's just how they perceive it because that's largely how you view real world like different African territories. But in terms of like Black Panther, you're going to see like a stupid technologically advanced society way beyond anything you see in the rest of the world. So like it's going to be nuts. It's going to be crazy. It's really going to boggle the mind. And I think people are going to be like, why doesn't the rest of the world have technology like this? Like it's going to seem like a world unto itself hundreds of years into the future. So it's going to be, well, maybe not hundreds of years, but like decades into the future. It's going to be pretty solid. So what do you think of the actor director of Korg? I loved Korg as a character. I thought he was great. People who are traditional fans of Korg are going to hate him. But I love the character of Thor of Korg. I'm not so entrenched in the comics that I don't like change. I really dig I love the character of Korg, so I'm pretty happy with what they did with him. But anyway, guys, overall, movie was amazing. Definitely worth a go see. it's definitely something you have to go check out. So, when's the housewarming? Well, the house I'm gonna take Benny and then by once I get moved or once I close and everything. But there's some changes that I'm gonna make. Like I'm gonna tear up the hardwood, put down hardwood floors, or tear up the carpet, put down hardwood floors. Tear out the existing entertainment center, put in a new one. There's some changes that I'm gonna make to that house. So the housewarming probably won't be until after the turn of the year. But yeah, it'll be a little while. They have two entrances into the kitchen. One is in a wall that looks like it was just artificially made, so I'm gonna fill that in and get rid of that. But yeah. So anyway, definitely go check out Thor, guys. An incredible film, definitely worth watching. One of my absolute favorite films so far. It's pretty solid. I mean, it's yes, it has comedy, but it adds to the movie. It doesn't take away. It's pretty cool. It's pretty great so far. So anyway, guys, we're gonna go ahead and bring this to an end. Thanks for coming out, everybody, for showing up in the Q&A session and everything. And I will catch you all later. Peace.